Hey everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm Jack.
I'm Elena.
And today we're going to be talking about worry, something that I know can be tough for a lot of people.
Worry can definitely be a part of life.
And for those of you learning English, I think worry can make it harder sometimes to learn.
It can make it harder to do anything we want to do when we let it get in the way.
Elena, I know you have some ideas about how to manage worry. Can you share some of those with us?
I'd love to. One thing that can help comes from a really old philosophy called Stoicism.
Stoicism?
Yeah, it started in ancient Greece and Rome.
Okay.
And some of the Stoics were thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, and they were all about how to live a good life.
Oh, I've heard of those guys before.
Yeah, so they believed we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we react to it.
So instead of worrying about things we can't change, we focus on what we can change.
Yeah, exactly. Like we can control our thoughts and feelings and actions.
I see. But that sounds hard to do.
It does take practice, but the Stoics believed it was worth it. They thought a life without too much worry was a truly happy life.
Let's talk about Marcus Aurelius. He was the emperor of Rome when there was a terrible plague going on. That must have been super stressful.
It was a really difficult time, but Marcus Aurelius, he stayed calm. He made really good decisions.
Like what kind of decisions?
Well, he helped people to pay for funerals and got more soldiers to help protect the empire. He even sold some of his own things to help pay for all of it.
Wow, so he didn't let fear control him.
He didn't. He used logic and reason like the Stoics taught.
Marcus Aurelius once said, "Look back over the past with its changing empires that rose and fell, and you can foresee the future too." What did he mean by that?
He meant that history repeats itself. There are patterns in history.
So if we learn about what happened in the past, we can be more prepared for the future.
Exactly. Change is always happening, and there will always be challenges.
But we get to choose how we respond to them.
Yeah, we do. And that reminds me of what another philosopher, Heraclitus, said. Nothing is permanent except change. And Aristotle said that we learn and grow from difficult times.
Yeah, we all go through tough times in life.
We do. And those tough times, they can make us stronger and wiser.
So by studying history, we can see that we're not alone in our struggles.
That's right. And we can see that other people have faced similar challenges and they've gotten through them.
I like that. It's comforting.
It is. And this connects to another Stoic idea, which is about focusing on ourselves and ignoring the noise.
What do you mean by noise?
Well, Marcus Aurelius said, we all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
We often want others to like us.
Yeah, and these days with the internet and social media, there are so many opinions everywhere. It's a lot.
It feels like everyone has an opinion about everything.
Yeah, they do. But
No.
the Stoics, they tell us to focus on our own actions and our own character.
So don't worry too much about what other people think.
That's right. What matters is how we live our lives, not what other people say about us. Epictetus, another Stoic, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters."
That's a good quote.
It is. And this idea connects to what Socrates and Plato said. Socrates believed in knowing yourself, and Plato said we should look for truth beyond what we see on the surface.
So we need to filter out all the noise and listen to our own inner voice.
Yes, and focus on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and how we respond to the world.
It's a good reminder. It's easy to compare ourselves to others and worry about what they think.
It is, but remember, true peace comes from inside.
Speaking of peace, I remember another important Stoic idea. Marcus Aurelius said, "Remind yourself that it is not the future or what is past that afflicts you, but always the present."
Yes, that's about being present, living in the moment. It's similar to mindfulness.
Mindfulness, does that mean being aware of what's happening right now?
Exactly. It's about paying attention to our thoughts and feelings and what we're sensing without judging them. We just notice them as they come and go.
How does that help with worry?
Well, when we worry, we often think about the past or the future, things we regret or things we're afraid of.
And that makes us tired and doesn't solve any problems.
You're right. Mindfulness, it brings us back to the present moment where we can feel calmer and clearer. It helps us let go of worries that aren't helpful.
So focusing on the present moment can help us feel less worried and more content.
Yes, that's the idea. Epictetus said, do not seek to have events happen as you want them to, but instead want them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go well.
So we can't always control what happens, but we can choose to accept it and move on.
And that acceptance can help us find peace.
This reminds me of what Aristotle said about doing the right thing and what Plato said about understanding the true nature of things.
Yes, they also talked about aligning ourselves with something greater.
So it seems like all of these different philosophies, they have something in common. They're all about connecting with something bigger than ourselves, like reason or virtue or the present moment.
And that connection can give us a sense of peace and purpose that helps us rise above our everyday worries.
But how do we practice mindfulness in our daily lives? It sounds kind of abstract.
It can be simple. You can try meditating for a few minutes each day, focusing on your breath. Or you can try doing one thing at a time, like eating or walking, without getting distracted.
I like that. Anyone can do those things no matter how busy they are.
Exactly. Mindfulness, it's not about adding more to your to-do list. It's about being aware of what you're already doing.
We often try so hard to fix our problems that we forget to just be present with them.
And being present with them, accepting them, can be very freeing.
It's like taking a deep breath and letting ourselves just be without judgment.
And from that place of stillness, we can find wisdom and strength that we didn't even know we had.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So we've talked about how Stoicism can help us deal with worry by focusing on what we can control, understanding history, and practicing mindfulness.
Yeah.
But there's more to it.
There is. We'll talk about more ways Stoicism can help us in the next part of our conversation.
So we were talking about how Stoicism can help us manage our worry.
Right. And another important Stoic idea is about making the most of our time.
Yeah. I like that time is valuable.
It is. And Marcus Aurelius reminds us about that. He said, "Life is short. That's all there is to say. Get what you can from the present, thoughtfully, justly."
It's like a reminder to enjoy each moment and, make each day count.
That's it. And the Stoics, they encouraged us to think about what we're doing each day and make sure our actions match our goals and values.
It's true, though. Sometimes we don't see the results of what we do right away.
That's true. We might not see results for weeks, months, or even years, but that doesn't mean we should give up.
So be patient. Keep working towards those goals even when it's hard.
Yeah, the Stoics believed in doing the right thing even when it's difficult or we don't get a reward right away.
Do you have an example of what that might look like in everyday life?
Sure, even simple things like taking a walk or cooking a healthy meal can be Stoic practices.
Really? How are those things Stoic?
Well, taking a walk isn't just about exercise. It can be a time to think and be mindful and connect with nature.
Yeah, it can help us clear our heads and focus on the present moment.
Right, like a moving meditation. And cooking a healthy meal, it's about more than just the food. It's about taking care of yourself and showing respect for your body.
Finding meaning in the things we do every day.
That's it. The Stoics, they found joy not in chasing pleasure or avoiding pain, but in living a good and meaningful life.
They focused on what they could control, their thoughts, their actions, and how they responded to things.
And they believed that this approach led to a happier and more fulfilling life.
And it sounds like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, they lived this way.
They did. Marcus Aurelius, he was an emperor with a lot of responsibility, but he still found time to think about his life and write down his thoughts.
And those writings became his book, Meditations, right?
Yes. And that book is full of wisdom.
It is.
And Seneca, he also believed in living a good life. And he practiced what he preached. He found joy in simple things, and he faced challenges with courage.
Sounds like they were both inspiring people.
They were. And their teachings are still helpful today, especially when we're trying to manage worry and find meaning in our lives.
Thinking about Stoicism, it makes me think about helping others. Marcus Aurelius said, "What is not good for the swarm is not good for the bee."
That's a great quote. It means that we should think about the well-being of the whole group, not just ourselves.
Because we're all connected. Our actions affect others.
That's right. The Stoics believe that true happiness comes from living a virtuous life, and that includes helping others.
And there are so many benefits to helping others. It can make us feel less worried about our own problems. It can help us connect with our community and improve our mental health. It can give us a sense of purpose.
And Seneca said, "Wherever there is a human being, we have an opportunity for kindness."
I love that quote. It reminds us that even small acts of kindness can make a big difference.
They can. And those small acts, they can spread and create a more caring world.
And when we focus on helping others, maybe our own worries seem a little bit smaller.
That's right. When we shift our attention outward, we can gain a new perspective on our own lives.
It's like we find strength and resilience from something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. Stoicism isn't just about personal growth. It's about finding our place in the world and contributing to the well-being of everyone.
So it's a philosophy that's both practical and meaningful.
It is, and I think it offers valuable insights for all of us, especially in today's world.
Yeah, it reminds us that we have the power to choose our thoughts and actions and responses, even when things are tough.
And that choice, that inner freedom, is where we find true strength and resilience and happiness.
Well said. Well, Elena, this has been a really great conversation about Stoicism and how it can help us with worry and find meaning in life. Before we wrap up, I want to go back to that quote from Epictetus that you shared earlier. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters."
It's a powerful reminder.
So how can our listeners use this wisdom in their own lives, especially when they feel worried?
I think that quote reminds us that we always have a choice. Even when things are difficult, we can choose how we respond. We can react with fear and anxiety, or we can respond with courage and resilience.
Sometimes finding humor in a difficult situation can be really helpful.
It can, and the Stoics understood this. They knew that suffering and hardship are a part of life, but they also knew that sometimes the best way to deal with difficult emotions is to laugh at them.
Like take away their power.
Exactly. When we can laugh at our worries, we're not pretending they don't exist. But we're also not letting them control us. We're choosing to see the bigger picture and move forward with grace and maybe even a little bit of joy.
That's a good place to be.
It is. And it's something we can all learn to do no matter what challenges we face.
Elena, you're talking about how Stoicism can help us find that peace within ourselves.
Yes. And that inner peace can actually lead us to helping others.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, it might seem like focusing on ourselves and helping others are two different things.
I guess I can see that.
But when we learn to manage our own worries and we find peace, it's natural to want to share that with others.
So it's not selfish to take care of ourselves first.
No, not at all. Taking care of our own mental well-being gives us the strength and energy to help other people.
Makes sense.
Think about it. When you're feeling calm and centered, you're more likely to be patient, kind, and understanding.
Yeah.
And helping others doesn't have to be some big, grand gesture.
Oh, what do you mean?
It can be simple things like listening to a friend, offering a helping hand, or just being present for someone who's struggling.
Yeah, those small acts of kindness can really make a difference.
They can, and they can also create a ripple effect and inspire others to do the same.
So by taking care of ourselves and finding that inner peace, we can actually contribute to a more peaceful world.
Exactly. It's like this beautiful cycle.
Elena, this has been such an amazing conversation about Stoicism. I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too, Jack. It's been a pleasure sharing these ideas.
And to all of our listeners out there, remember that you have the power to choose how you respond to worry. Stoicism offers some helpful tools for us to find peace and live a more fulfilling life.
And as you learn English, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Embrace the journey and remember that every step you take brings you closer to your goal.
That's great advice, Elena. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Jack.
And to all of our listeners, keep practicing, keep learning, and keep exploring the amazing world of English. We'll see you next time.